Behind me like a bear comes walking down, I'll hear him. And then I'll get a couple more stories out here, experiences out here, and then I'm gonna go grab that camera. And then I'll go grab that other camera. We'll see what kind of bear traffic it is right now. If this bear traffic's real heavy, I'll get that camera later because that's like a major corridor and it's so thick right there. If a bear comes up, it's going to be 3 feet away from me. And then you got the water right here. The wind's going downriver, so they're not going to smell me, probably not going to hear me, and it'll just be the chance. It's more of a higher chance of a negative experience, right? So, like I said before, some of my worst experiences with grizzly bears always along the river, just for that fact. You're in thick cover, the wind's going downhill, you're going uphill, the sound of the water, and boom, in your face. So, I don't have any kind of weapon on me. Not that a black bear is going to do anything. There's usually enough fish around here, but it's just common sense for me at this stage of the game. It's like, okay, bears are active right now. There is fish. It's kind of slim. It's tough to get up on top of those logs because the water's deeper there and it's a tangle of windfall and stuff underneath the water. So it's very awkward for me to move around. I can't move fast from there at all. So it's a little bit of an awkward spot. So we'll see how it goes. Just thinking ahead. Yeah. Who else? Type this is red. Bigfoots in New Mexico. Hi Steve, your friends Eddie and Megan from New Mexico here. This is my third time trying to send over. So many amazing stories to tell you from our area of the four corners of the North America, USA. We're close to several First Nations people, Native American reservations, and after sharing my story, I attached here for your reference and forwarded an email below while bartending here in my small town of Farmington, New Mexico. The people of the Navajo Nation share some truly extraordinary experiences with me. They've also had of their own. Hope you get a chance to read my experience below. Your videos and shares help me understand what happened to me way back in '03. If you'd like to hear more, I'd be happy to provide you with more information. My friend, my wife and I watch your videos daily. We love each story you share on your rants. LOL. Enjoy the read, Eddie. All right, Eddie. Gotcha. Here we go. Sorry for the wait, but there's no way out of it. Hey, Steve, Eddie here from New Mexico here. Been sitting on the story which I've shared with friends and family over the years, but I think I had it entirely all wrong until I came across your amazing videos. First and foremost, thank you for everything you do in telling the truth at any and all cost. My wife and I watch your videos daily, but more importantly, we listen. Now, I'm 35 years old today, and this story happened circa 0203. The Bisti Badlands, B-I-S-T-I Badlands are an area here close to my dusty little town in Farmington, New Mexico, in the northwest corners of our state, in the Four Corners area bordering the states of Colorado, Arizona, and Utah. The more and more I've done the deep dive into the subject, listening to stories from people in area or even just north of us to Colorado, where Durango is 45 minutes from our town, and even Pagosa Springs and Silverton, Colorado, which I've heard you speak of in emails that have been sent to you, have made me take a real hard look, looking back and remember everything that happened on that crazy day and night that I'll never forget. Now let's get back to my story. In the Bisti Badlands, which is on the reservations of the First Nations people in my area known as the Navajo. I gotta look around every once in a while for obvious reasons. Once I get focused on reading, it kind of kills my senses for what's around me at times. So peek. My friends and I went for a hike into the Badlands, and I must mention that I had to be 17, 18 years old and didn't have the mature mind on me that I do today. So, after our hike, being teenage kids, we hopped back in the car, being young, reckless teenagers, We drive off into an area where vehicles are prohibited and do some donuts. Basically drive past the parking area of the state park where your car or truck is supposed to stay. Now, we park the car in a spot and hike up the hill to go watch the sunset. Now this is where the story gets very, very interesting looking back. And to this day I can never return to this area without heavily thinking of everything that took place that evening. For years my intrepidation of what happened was that maybe I drove over an ancient burial ground or offended the spirits of the ancient Navajo tribe and we had an interaction with a skinwalker. But like I said, after countless stories from your videos, I fully believe is an encounter with a Sasquatch being. So here it goes. As my friends and I are watching the sunset, mind you, my girlfriend at the time, Brooke, my two buddies, Paul and Matt, and my faithful dog, Star, a German Shepherd Labrador mix. On top of this hill, out of nowhere, from what had been a clear and calm day, a violent windstorm picked up out of nowhere, and we were pelted with tiny grains of sand in droves for the better part of 10 minutes. Finally, we all agree, okay, it's time to go. We make our way down the hill, and my buddy Matt slips and falls and rolls his ankle. We later learned it was a nasty sprain that'll come into play at the end of the story. So, Paul and I now have to have him put his arms over each of our shoulders so we can help him walk back to the car with us. Now, about 5 to 10 minutes later, we reach the vehicle. The strange thing is my car now won't start. I've never had any problems before with this little vehicle. My father had purchased for my 16th birthday, and I never had an issue thereafter. So this goes on for about 20 minutes. I try to turn the key over, and you just got the clicking noise. Finally, ignition turns over, and I put it in reverse to back up and leave, and the back tire starts spinning and dig me into what is now us being stuck in a little ditch that wasn't there. My tires just created it. So, we get out of the car to how bad it is, and we are dug in pretty good. Not prepared for this as the sun is pretty much now set and darkness fills the landscape. We collectively all exit the car to figure out what to do next. Here's where it gets very, very interesting. My dog Star would not jump back out with us and is shaking like a leaf on a tree in the front seat. We tell Matt to get back in the car and sit since his ankle is killing him, and the three of us try starting a fire. And I swear to you, the wind had calmed down and the night was still. No matter what we did, the fire would not start. I'm telling you, I was in high school at the time, had my backpack with notebooks inside, and we had lighters and broke branches off the sagebrush all around us for kindling. And it was like some kind of spiritual evanescence force was at work, keeping us from being able to start this fire. So Brick goes back in the car to comfort Star, Matt's in the back seat, Paul and I have the tire iron in our hands to dig us out of the situation we're in. That is when the snapping of the twigs or branches begin. North, south, east, and west, coming from all sides of us. Paul and I keep digging and ignore, don't say anything to each other for about 15, maybe 20 minutes until the growling started. 1 second on that note. All good. So finally I say, okay, is it just me hearing all this shit or somebody out there effing with us? And that is when Matt and B exit the car, Star still inside shaking intensely, feeling something with her canine sixth sense. The overwhelming sense of fear and fight or flight responses in high gear. I remember telling everyone, it sounds like a man imitating an animal. That is, no animals growling at us. In this area, we are miles from civilization. Our town is a good 40 plus miles away. So I remember Paul saying, who would be out this far effing with us? Matt and B are now out of the car, and you can see the fear in their faces. I tell Brooke to get in the driver's seat, and we'll all push and try to get us out of here after digging for almost half an hour. And that's when the growling and twig breaking uptick began. Whatever this was had us for the taking, but it seemed as it was more than one wanted to scare the hell out of us, and that they were doing just that. The tires kept spinning, so I thought to myself, we need traction. So we got the rubber mats for our feet in the back seat of the car, placed them underneath each tire. Mind you, the twigs snapping, low guttural growling, north, south, east, and west still going on. They're gradually getting louder from how much closer they're getting to us. So I tell Brooke, okay, on the count of 3, you hit the gas and we will push. Matt, my bud, remembered, has the rolled ankle, so is so scared, even he on one leg joins Paul and I in the push, because even he is shitting bricks, scared all the way we all are, and experienced immense pain, but the fear in the air is so palpable, even he wants to help do his part to get us the hell out of there. Steve, I swear to you, in that finale, 3 seconds, as I count 1, the twigs uptick. Breaking is coming from all directions. 2, the low guttural growling is now sounding like a scream is about to erupt from all sides of us. When I said 3, counting loudly, in that split second before I said 3, it sounded like a tree trunk split in half. Mind you, there are really only petrified trees out there in the beastly badlands. A sound so loud it was deafening. Needless to say, B hit the gas, the 3 of us pushed, and the car released from being stuck. Thank God. Brooke probably drove for a good 15 seconds as we chased the car in the dark. That is how terrified she was, because we were all experiencing this, and she finally stopped. We all jumped in, helping Matt into the car, and thus we hit the gas and hauled ass out of there. Now in our area, skinwalkers, which I mentioned above, are black magic Native American witchcraft superstition, and I was believed maybe we had offended the spirits that day, and that was what we experienced. I know we got no visuals of what we were hearing or experiencing, but I can't tell how enough I truly now believe it was a family of Sasquatch that didn't appreciate us messing around the way we were that day and made us pay for it by scaring the ever-loving hell out of us. Several years back in 2019, I was bartending at our local brewery here in town, and I had these guys who were not local or my regular patrons. So like I always do, just chatting, getting to know people, which is a huge part of my job, I asked them, where are you guys from? What brings you to town? Long story short, to wrap all this up, they told me they were the students from one of the state's big colleges out of Albuquerque, and they're here with a professor as a small crew who had been given a grant, as well as granted access by the Navajo Nation to study the Bigfoot family that existed in an area that was on the outskirts of our little town that was literally between the beastly Badlands and Farmington, New Mexico, along with the Animas River, not 20 miles from where the very story I shared with you took place. Needless to say, I shared my story with them, and they shared some photographs with me that were truly remarkable. There's a family of 3. The big male, the female, the juvenile is what they referred to it as. Now, I don't believe these were the same exact Sasquatch we came in contact with 20 years previously, but it was astonishing to bring it at full circle. The most stunning fact to me was that they also told me that the deal was with the Navajo Nation, that they could not go public with their findings. Funny how that works, eh, buddy? Last year, coming across your channel and doing a deep dive on all your stories, going back several years from hearing your own encounter to your grandfather's and everyone in between, I hope this email inspires someone to share something they have been sitting on for years in publicly, such as I have this morning. I know this is a long one, and no actual Bigfoot sighting with my eyes, but nonetheless, it was terrifying, bone-chilling experience, and Steve, I thank you again for giving us all the platform to be honest. The truth is paramount in life. I see all that is happening in Canada and around the world, my friend. Prayers to you and yours, and nothing but love, respect, and support from us here in the States. My eyes are open. If anything ever happens again, I'll be sure to email your friend in New Mexico, Eddie J. Dude, thank you. Absolutely appreciate your time. I'm glad we got to it, especially if you sent it in 3 times. Watch me, I'm going to read it those 3 more times the next year, right? The photograph. Did you mean that you saw a picture of a family of them? They showed you a photograph? That would be really interesting, and it'd be be weird. It's a little odd to picture somebody just getting a grant, especially school-related people, and off they go to the Navajo land, and boom, they snap a picture of a family of them. That's really something else to possibly take in and wrap your brain around, right, without seeing the photo. I wonder if those people are watching this channel. Probably. Probably. And as far as other people, like you said, encouraging people to share what they know, I don't think we've picked on the Smithsonian staff yet, have we? I know we haven't. Maybe it's time we did. Are people from the Smithsonian watching this channel? Probably. So, if you are, and for whatever reason it is that you have been conditioned or convinced that the people of this planet aren't allowed to know what you're allowed to know, hopefully you agree that that is absolutely wrong and a major crime. Hopefully some of you might be at the point where you believe it's time that you accept the fact that we are all equal, all neighbors, we're all here on this globe together. We all deserve an equal chance at knowing as much as we can and rocking this lifetime out to the best we can. Right? So on that note, to all of you who have either are currently employed at or previously employed by the Smithsonian Institute of Secrecy, email me. Use a secure email. I don't give a shit what name you use. Email me. Share with us what you got. For me, what would I be most curious of? I would be most curious of the reason why you have been conditioned to accept the practice of not sharing the truth with the people. Why? Why? Why is that? Why do the people at the Smithsonian all agree? What is that, of intimidation? Did they scare the shit out of you? Did they make you sign on the dotted line your firstborn would be delivered to the Clintons or something? I want to know why. Why are you keeping secrets from the people when it comes to the natural world and the truths, our truth? I want to know why.